Hey guys, what's going on? Watomarmelon back again. Going to be bringing you a January 15th market watch. So we're going to start things off with Chaos Emperor Dragon, which is one that I've brought up many times in the past, and this is one that I said was kind of a gatekeeper for modern cards because if this thing was only $160, which it was, I said either modern is extremely overrated and it's hard for me to justify buying anything modern because, if this thing's 160, why would I spend 100 on something modern that has, 1/10, 1/100th the history, and something like this, no one's opening up Invasion of Chaos first edition boxes. It's probably $5,000 to open up one of these things for a chance at this card. And so it just didn't make sense to me why I would buy modern if this thing was as cheap as it was. And so I said either modern is incredibly overrated and these prices are going to plummet very, very soon, or Chaos Emperor is going to go up because people are going to realize, oh wow, I'd much rather pay $160 for this than for modern. And so what you see is that basically all the verified sellers that were lined up at $160 are now gone. There's all that remains is $157 plus $1 shipping from a low feedback, unverified seller complexity. Maybe they do a great job, I don't know, but clearly they have some negative feedback and very few sales. And then after that, it goes quickly up to 193 and then 240. And so there are two copies at 240 and then 300. And so it becomes immediately apparent that people have decided that 160 was a little too low for this card. Now, it might dig its heels in the sand with this, anchor point at 157 where people might try to compete with this price despite them being verified sellers, and so it could go down. But at this point, it seems like it was just plummeting, and people didn't realize how low it had gotten. And now you can't get it for what it once was able to be gotten for. You can see the recent sales on this one. If we view more data and filter by near mint first edition and then look at the sales, you can see, they're flying off the shelves at 160, 180. Over the past, month to 2 months, this thing has really, really come off the market. And you can see before that, there weren't very many sales at all, except for Chaos Emperor at 240 on October 7th. So it seems like the sales rate went up quite considerably, and also the supply has more or less remained constant, and so naturally the price is going to go up if that happens. Next up, we have kind of a wild card. This is going to be a bit all over the place for today's market watch. I wanted to do something and do a lot of cards that you don't see very frequently on market watch. And so next up, we're going to Ultimate Insect Level 5, Ultimate Rare. These Flaming Eternity Ultimates are absolutely beautiful. You can see Near Mint First Edition recently sold for $33. If we do some filters on this thing, we can see that Near Mint, you're looking at $11 for an unlim, and then about $35 for a near mint first edition. And so this is a pretty awesome card. If you've ever seen the foiling on this thing, it's pretty crazy. There's no reason I think this thing would be bought. It's just, this is a fun one that I haven't seen for a while and I wanted to check out how it's doing. I don't think that's particularly bad for this card. Next up, we've got Dark Magician out of 25th anniversary tins. These tin quarter century secret rares are pretty beautiful if you haven't seen them already. Some of them are done better than others. Check out a video on my main channel where I talk a bit about that. You can see this thing spiked super, super hard and then fell out right afterwards. And now it's seeming to go back up a bit. You can see there are listings at $8 plus $1 shipping. So basically $9 total for this quarter century secret rare. I don't know how many of these tins were opened. And so clearly there's a huge supply of the sealed product. It's just there's no value in it. And so why would you open it? And so a lot of the stuff's remained sealed. And so there are limited numbers of these promo cards. And so even though, there's so much of it that's been, printed, I don't know if there is that many of these promos relative to how much there was printed. And so it seems like there's room for this stuff to grow, especially because, for $9, this card's kind of insane. I mean, think about how much, people were paying $500 for the Ghost Rare. People still are. This is a pretty beautiful copy for, orders of magnitude less. Another fun one to look at is Dark Magician Maximum Gold. I mean, this is one that really is bottomed out. Seems to be climbing a bit, actually, out of nowhere. But if we look at the near mint first edition, you can see one for $3.45 plus $1 shipping. So I don't know how much of this climb is actually real, given that it says the market price is $6. That seems a bit bizarre. Anyways, I don't mind these premium gold cards. I think that they got I don't know if there's like some psyop going on, but people loved these things when they were first, leaked and hinted at, and people got their first pictures. And then all of a sudden, over time, the impression of the premium gold rare, was completely reversed, and people seem to hate them now. They think it's just like the other gold rares. Many are saying that these are even worse than the other gold rares. I think they actually look quite good. I'll be the first to say I like the premium gold rare. Some were better than others, and the quality control was not great, but I'm honestly a fan of these things. I think that this is a fun card, especially for casual collectors who might not be influenced by the general community's thoughts. And so I think that, this is an interesting one for sure. Next up, we have the anniversary artwork for Battles of Chaos. Very, very cool. This is the one from the manga, I believe, and you can see that this thing is completely tanked in the past 3 months. Fell off a cliff. Now it's stabilized a bit. You can see there are copies at $70. Nothing too expensive. It's a cool card, but I think a lot of these, I don't want to call it gimmicky ultra rares, but there's no guarantee that they don't print this artwork again, and people have been burned a lot recently about speculating on when things are going to be printed, when they're not. I mean, just look at the Dark Magician Girl. That thing released completely was a crazy, crazy price, and then they reprinted it. And even though there was a distinction between the two printings, it still, I think, lost a lot of its luster. And, I wonder, say this gets a secret rare. Are people going to pay anything for this ultra rare, even though it's, somewhat hard to pull? I don't know that they will. That's my personal take on it. I think it's a little risky because they can always reprint it in a better rarity. Next up, we have Cyber Dragon. This is one I kept saying I was going to buy, and then I didn't. And as you can see, I reap what I sow. It was, a $50 card for a while, and it is no longer a $50 card. Lowest listed is $73. And so I kind of missed my chance on this. I'm not going to buy it still, I'm not going to, fear of missing out, purchase this card. I missed my chance. It is what it is. I don't think this is going to go to $200. So, if I ever desperately need it in the future, I'll buy it. I don't think it's going to go crazy, but I probably missed my chance at the bottom. It seems a lot of cards are starting to climb a bit back up, especially ones that are more collectible. Next up, we have Cosmic Cyclone. This is definitely just a playable card. You can see this thing's spiking super hard. People are picking them up for over $100. Lowest listed right now is $115 in near mint condition. So this has just completely come off the market. Here's a fun one. You got to respect the Koala. Master of Oz, Ultimate Rare. This is such a fun card. I had this one as a kid in near mint unlimited. Let's look what the near mint price is. $31 for an unlim. That's kind of expensive. I was not expecting it to be this expensive. And then for first edition, we're looking at $83 for a verified seller. Wow, that's more expensive than I would have thought. I guess people do respect the Koala. This thing has some serious value behind it. We've got Book of Moon, obviously popular in Edison, so it's interesting to see where it's at. I already looked at this. Over the past year, it's had a couple of sort of peaks, and it's coming back down again right now. You can see that it's only a, I think, $75 card or so in near mint on limb. Now we're going to get into the Starlight Rare section. I really wanted to look at Starlight Rares because these are something that this rarity exploded during the pandemic, and recently with the introduction of Quarter Century Secret Rares, which by all accounts are nearly identical to Starlight Rares, people have been much less confident in buying these things for absurd prices, or maybe absurd is a bit pointed. High prices. I think people are less confident that the value is going to hold. As you can see, lowest listed English is 1,500 or 1,050, excuse me. So this card, which has been as you can see, much more expensive than 1,050, has sort of fallen out. It's kind of taken a huge tumble over the past year. It's lost almost half its value. So that's kind of crazy to see a card like this fall out as quickly as it did. This one didn't even receive a quarter century secret rare to compete with the Starlight rare. And this one has fallen off a cliff. We can look at Apollosa, 3 month. Obviously, this got a quarter century secret rare, so it's understandable why it fell out so much. This one also has just fallen off a cliff, also lost half of its value, more than half of its value. I guess we can look at Near Mint First Edition English. Okay, Euro English, that's good enough. 760. Let's just verify this is, Euro English from Gamer's Choice. 760. So, I mean, obviously these high-end Starlights haven't done well. This one also received a reprint, and a very accessible reprint at that. This one was peaking around 750, and then it fell off a cliff. And now you can see sales at, low 400s, 415, lost almost half of its value already. I don't know, and the concern I have with this is you're taking these cards, like Stardust Dragon is not a card where there are a million accessible versions of Stardust Dragon. You can get the rare out of Toon Chaos for probably 10 cents. So it's not like this card needs a reprint. And so you're taking a collector's card and then trying to, I guess, double down, get as much profit as you can from it as a company. But I think in doing so, you take away a lot of collectors' confidence that their cards are going to hold up over time. And as much as everyone just collects for fun, it's hard to justify spending, $750, which this thing peaked at, on a card, when you know that there's a possibility they just say, we'll print the exact same card, basically, up to a gold name versus a holofoil shiny name. I don't know what to say. I am not someone who bought into Stardust Dragon. I thought it was crazy, and I didn't even think it was crazy because I thought they were going to reprint it as a quarter century secret. I thought it was crazy because the Ghost Rare was less expensive in Near Mint Unlimited than the Starlight Rare, and so I thought I got a bit high. But even I didn't expect that they would just basically print the exact same thing, and it goes to show why people are being a bit more cautious about putting money into modern collectibles. It's just, this is case in point. It peaks, and then they announce a reprint of it, and it just goes out the window. Next up, we've got Exodia, another one that people are really putting a lot of money into. You can see it peaked again. Peaked, it was going up, and then they decided, hey, we're just going to print the exact same thing, and it fell off a cliff. Again, this is something that people are not needing this to play with, and you can see the market price is $330. It's selling for $273, $270 right now. So the market price isn't even reflecting what happened. $270, this has lost more than half its value. And the thing about this one, out of Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge, is that there's a matching set as well that they didn't reprint. And so you'd think it still holds some amount of value, but people have really just, decided it's not worth holding on to these modern collectibles, because as hard as it is to collect the full set, it's just not worth it when they're just going to reprint everything. Here we've got Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This one's starting to see a bit of an uptick again. You can see a sale at $196. This is one that, again, peaked, but this is more so it peaked because it was a super playable card. This thing's still banned, but you can see that the lowest listed at Near Mint First Edition from a verified seller is $200. So this is one of there are a lot of ones where I should have bought the dip, but it's too late now, and I'm not going back from here. So I'm not gonna FOMO now and then decide, I desperately need it, and then spend way more than I should. Number 39, Utopia. This one has not come back up. It has just plummeted. This thing, a year ago, was $260. It had already been plummeting. At one point in time, this was a $500 card. And you can see that it is now $118. Yikes. The crazy thing about this is that they put no respect on this card. They reprinted it without the astral language as an ultimate rare. I thought that was a fine printing. It gives you a nice min-max. Not everyone's going to be able to afford the astral. That's fine. give it an OTS. It gets people to buy packs from stores. That's cool with me. And then they do an absolutely absurd thing. They print a collector rare in King's Court at basically, a month or two after the Ultimate Rare releases. And so they've had like 3 releases of Utopia within the past year or so, or within a year's time. And so the Ultimate Rare and Collector Rare are fighting for the sort of mid-rarity version of this thing, and this one has gone down in the process because, there's all these other versions going around. And then, you know what they do? They print this in Quarter Century Seeker Rare out of the tin, so basically an identical copy, not Astral, but you're getting the shiny version. And then they also print the Astral version, I think, in a structure deck. It's just absurd. They really took any value out of this thing. This thing is 1/5 the value it once was because they just printed it into oblivion. Now, I think this thing would have lost value regardless. This should not have been a $600, $500 card, but man, they did that card dirty. Here's another one. We've got Trish. I like this one. I think it looks really cool, but I don't know why they printed this one. It already had the dual terminal and the Ultimate Rare. Just kind of a bizarre choice. I don't see this thing recovering. Maybe I should buy the dip on this one, but $105. I think the Ultimate Rare is cheaper than this. I would rather get the Astral Pack Ultimate than the Starlight Rare. This is a card that I've already picked up 2 of, Yatagarasu. You can see this one really stabilized at around 63, although, yeah, it's still about 63. So this one plummeted as well, but it peaked, 152. I did not buy it there. I think I bought it around here. I bought it like here, and then it plummeted a bit more. I bought another one at this sort of stable price. I think it cost me like $55, and now you can see it's 63. So I got one where I bought the dip, but this isn't an investment by any stretch. I just like it for my collection. Cool card. Here's one that I just checked today. Oops. This was a plateau for a while and fell off a cliff. I think this is one of the most beautiful Starlight Rares. I'm probably going to buy, myself a bunch of these. Actually, I don't know. Looking at how many are listed at 35, I guess there's no urgency for me to buy this. I can just let them continue to compete, and it'll probably get even cheaper. Given how many, I see probably more than 10 copies at 35. There's no point in me buying it now then. There's no urgency, but I absolutely love this Starlight Rare. I think it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite Starlights. So I'll definitely finish off my playset. I already have one. Next up, we've got Armed Dragon Thunder. Blazing Vortex kind of fell on its ass. Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. I mean, yeah, this one has been suffering for a long time. Tried to hold on, especially with Quarter Century Secrets. It's just you can get better looking cards, cooler cards, for very, very cheap. You can see near mint first edition, around $37. So not a whole lot of value. My voice is going, so I'll finish it out. Just 2 left. We've got Leviathan Dragon, the cheapest Starlight Rare right now. Even this thing lost half its value and was already only 55. You can see that lowest listed verified is 29 plus $1 shipping. Very, very cheap. Cool card. Own this one. I think Leviathan Dragon's cool. I'm not afraid to say it. So I honestly think this one looks pretty nice. Finally, we'll look at Time Thief Perpetua, Ignition Assault. So I believe this is... I don't think this is the first Starlight Rare set. Is Apollosa a Starlight Rare from Ignition Assault? I forget. No, Rising Rampage. So this is not, but it's pretty old. You can see there are a bunch of these things at $43. Again, even the older ones are not holding up particularly well. It did spike, but I don't know. There's not a whole lot of value here either. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. A bit different. Sorry, I was a bit more mellow. My throat is acting up ever since I had COVID. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. Check out the links. It's been your boy Watomarmelon. Peace out.